lalawigan ng Ilocos Honor. Inihalal Pangulong Pilipinas. Magbibigay.
Corazón Colombo Aquino, that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines, to serve and defend its country.
Ako si Fidel Valdez Ramos ay mataimtim na nanunumpa, natutuparin ko.
Ako si Joseph Orozco Estrada ay taimtim na nanunumpa bilang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Joseph.
Praise be to the Almighty God, Lord of the universe, most gracious, most merciful, Master of our worldly affairs and the day of judgment. You alone we praise and worship. You alone we seek refuge and assistance. Almighty God, we are gathered here on this historic occasion of our country to celebrate with jubilant heart the oath-taking of our new President, Her Excellency President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo.
At ngayon, manunumpa si kagalang-galang Benigno S. Aquino III bilang Pangulo ng Pilipinas kay Associate Justice Conchita Carpio Morales.
Promises. We invest so much of our trust and hope to such promises every now and then. But where are we now? Let's take a look at some measures of development of the ASEAN. And here we can observe that the Philippines has been relatively slow, which means there's so much work to be done. We believe that we can begin by voting. However, are we really ready to exercise that democratic power, voting? Are we prepared to assess the government's performance? We shall see.
Yung administration ngayon, I can see na parang less corrupt sila kasi sa news parang less yung corruption na babalita. And then mabagal yung process nila pero in a way maraming policies yung napapatupad nila.
Okay, how do I feel about the current administration? Well, there's not much to say about the current administration. In my opinion, for me, I don't really think that the government is focusing on the things that needs to be focused. Yeah. And
I feel that the current administration is still finding their way on how to make the Philippines a better country since they're still kind of new.
For me personally, I think the Aquino administration has been somehow doing its job, but I feel that it's not enough. For the reasons that if we would make a comparison as to what the previous administration has done, they have been somehow making policies in order to somehow improve the system in terms of governance. However, the economic aspect perhaps of the country is somehow being affected in such a way that they would not, they would be somehow tentative in their actions because of their campaign against corruption. The more that they want to somehow stop it, the more that they become very tentative in terms of the country's investment in many aspects, which somehow for me hinders the growth and development that the country should have. In concrete terms, I feel that the country should really invest a lot on research and development. Because the Philippines has a lot of resources, a lot of natural resources, agricultural resources. However, we're not really somehow utilizing them, maximizing them to somehow our advantage, and we just allow somehow other countries to somehow use us, perhaps. But then again, I think that's really the challenge when you're really in power. You really have to somehow weigh the options as to what would be the best for the country from your perspective, because especially in the Philippines, the politics aspect, it will somehow never really be taken away, because the connotation of the word politics, yung pagpupolitika, ay isang bagay na lantaran sa bansa natin. Gaya nga nasabi nila, if we have too much politics, it leaves no room for leadership. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, in terms of performance, I think the Aquino administration is not performing as best as they should be performing at this point.
In my opinion, the Philippine government's performance is satisfactory. We've seen a lot of small and large changes in our government, specifically in terms of economical and political aspects.
Yung policy na gusto ko ever maging president ako ng Philippines is yung no smoking policy. And then,
And if I were elected as president of the Philippines, I guess my priority would be, first of all, education and health. I believe that those are the two primary things that the government needs to be focused on, like education and health.
If I was elected as the president of the Philippines, my first project would be to eliminate corruption for the betterment of the people of the Philippines.
If I was elected president, perhaps the first policy that I would want to somehow implement would be the strengthening of the local market, because I feel that especially at this age of globalization, yes, there are a lot of influences from somehow other foreign countries, but I feel that we also have to strengthen our own market so that we could somehow also patronize what we create and what we have, so that we would be more proud in being Filipinos.
I believe that the main problem of our government is the lack of funds for education. Education, in my opinion, is the solution to all of our problems like poverty, overpopulation, and the like. Because as we can see, education can help us see what is the main cause of every problem that is circulated in our society.
USG, I see USG as a bridge ng students to higher ups para maparating nila yung sentiments nila, yung mga gusto nila in the university.
So, how do I perceive the USG? I think they're quite okay. They're doing their jobs as representatives of the student body, and I do really appreciate the things that they have done to our university. So yeah.
I perceive the USG as a student government who thinks it is good for the people of the university and tries for the betterment of them.
I think the USG is very much affected by the kind of politics that is being espoused by the students here in the university, for the sole reason that many things in the USG are very much influenced by the political parties. What they do is somehow really not what is ideal for the kind of USG that is really expected of. There are a lot of somehow activities that are not really for the intent of the progress and development of the students inside the university, for their holistic development, but it's really somehow more of like the traditional politics kind of way, which is somehow sad and at the same time something that hopefully the students will be aware of, and that the students will really clamor for a change in such a system. If I were to give an advice for the USG, I feel that one of the things that they should really improve on is how they can maximize their policy making and representational duties in the university, for the sole reason that I feel that there is an influx of activities already inside the university, considering that there is already the Council of Student Organizations and the other which comprises of the professional organizations and other special interest organizations, which I feel already are producing the necessary activities that the students should need for their holistic development as Lasallians. So for me, I think the USG should really focus on somehow enforcing the policies, making policies policies, and somehow being the representatives of the university in a lot of somehow multisectoral discussions, and even cross batches, cross colleges interactions, so that somehow the USG can really live up to its true nature of being the government of the students here in the LSU.
As what I've seen through the projects and the different activities organized by the USG, I believe that their performance as a whole is very good. I've seen the USG units work as a whole. However, I'd like to see them to be visible as a specific unit like OPRES, OVIA, OVPEA, OSEC, OTRES as one single unit, not as a whole.
So, are we ready?
Where are we? What the hell is going on? The dust has only just begun to fall. Crop circles in the carpet, sinking feeling. Spin